Here you have California Secretary of State officials targeting and monitoring and spying on Judicial Watch, calling attention to YouTube to get our video taken down. And who are they working with to get all that done? Who are they relying on to do this social monitoring of not only Judicial Watch, but others? Other innocent Americans? The Biden campaign firm. Speaking of suppression, as I've often noted, we're in the middle of the Great Suppression, which is the suppression of speech by big tech, which is controlled by the left, in collusion with their leftist allies in the media, the so-called fact-check organizations, which are really just left-wing censorship groups, and most dangerously, the government. And the Biden administration has been public in its embrace and of the idea that citizens who say things they don't like should be censored by big tech. Not only on election issues, but on public health issues and debates about COVID and policies and such, and pretty much anything else that they think they don't want them talking about. And you see that even with the suppression of parents, for instance, who are speaking out against what schools are teaching their children. You have the Garland operation suggesting that they're terrorists for raising issues like that. So there's this great suppression targeting our First Amendment protected speech. And one of the victims is Judicial Watch. Another one of the victims is me, because I work at Judicial Watch and I'm often online for Judicial Watch presenting information, like in videos like this one. And just before the 2020 election, YouTube deleted a video, a weekly update video excerpt that we had put out there about election integrity issues. And we subsequently found out they did it at the request of the California Secretary of State's office. So you know what we just did? We sued the California Secretary of State's office for their violation of our civil rights through that outrageous censorship. Here's the release. Judicial Watch sues California Secretary of State for causing YouTube to censor key election integrity video just before the 2020 election. We got these, we figured it out because our intrepid lawyers and investigators extracted documents from the Secretary of State's office documenting this massive program that was done in league with the then Biden campaign's PR operation to target American citizens who were saying, quote, the wrong thing on elections, leading to outrageous censorship. Talk about election interference. That's election interference. So we filed the lawsuit. When did we file it? I guess we filed it last week. So we announced it this week. And it's an historic lawsuit, let's be clear. Because here we have, we're suing a government entity directly over their collusion with big tech, specifically Google/YouTube. And I hope YouTube is paying attention to this video, because we got some questions for you as well, you can be sure. I'm going to read you a significant section of the lawsuit because I think it's important you know about the illicit activity that taxpayer-paid officials were taking to violate the civil rights of Judicial Watch. And as I've noted before, when our rights are violated, when we're censored, it means you're censored because you're being denied access to information you want to be able to see, right? And of course, Judicial Watch, you know, it's not just me. We've got dozens of people on staff. We've hundreds of thousands of supporters. So this is a mass attack on the civil liberties of Americans. This is the statement of facts. So just to be clear, we're suing the Office of Secretary of State. The Secretary of State in California is Shirley Weber, so we're suing her in official capacity. So we're not suing her personally, we're suing her as an official of the government. And there's an office in the Secretary of State, which is called, this is what I love, the Office of Election Cybersecurity. It looked to be more concerned about targeting First Amendment rights than protecting the security of elections, as I'll disclose here. And this is how we describe it. It is not the role of the state to police the opinion of citizens. Yet the Secretary of State's office did just that when she monitored Judicial Watch's YouTube channel, purportedly assessed the contents of a video we posted on the channel as being, quote, misleading, unquote, and caused the video to be removed from YouTube's video sharing and social media platform. Plaintiff has maintained a YouTube channel. Plaintiff is Judicial Watch. So when I say plaintiff, I'm referencing Judicial Watch. Since May 16, 2006. That's a long time. How many years is that? Almost 20 years now, right? Among plaintiff's other social media presences, plaintiff's YouTube channel is an important means of communicating with its followers and supporters and disseminating information to the public in furtherance of the organization's public education mission. We've posted over 4,200 videos. I'm actually disappointed. I think we should have more videos than that. And as of the date of this complaint, we've garnered nearly 94 million views, and our channel has more than 502,000 subscribers. So we got to get those views up. So if you're watching, help us get it up to 100 million so when we can update the lawsuit and add 100 million. On September 22nd, 2020, we posted on our YouTube channel a video entitled Election Integrity Crisis, Dirty Voter Rolls, Ballot Harvesting, and Mail-in Voting Risk, exclamation point. It was a great video and I encourage you to watch it. You won't be able to watch it on YouTube though. The 26-minute video featured Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton discussing vote-by-mail processes, changes to state's election procedures, ballot collection, sometimes referenced to as ballot harvesting, and states' failures to clean up their voter rolls, among other topics. Mr. Fitton's comments were informed by successful lawsuits brought by Judicial Watch against Los Angeles County and the defendant, the Secretary of State's Office of California, in 2017 to compel the county and state to comply with the National Voter Registration Act's voter list maintenance requirements. And also we had another lawsuit against Governor Gavin Newsom, and maybe we should call him Newsman. That's probably a better name, right? And the defendant, again, the Secretary of State's office, in 2020, challenging the governor's attempt to unilaterally change the state's 2020 election procedures to an all vote-by-mail system. The former resulted in a consent decree that compelled defendant in Los Angeles County to implement several new practices and procedures to clean up state and county voter registration rolls. The latter, the lawsuit against Newsom, compelled the state of California to comply with the Elections Clause, Article 1, Section 4, and the Electors Clause, Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution, to change its 2020 voting procedures to an all vote-by-mail system. And in that case, we got a big fee award, so they had to pay some of our legal fees. And that California case, as I recall, against Newsom, was I think they were going to mail a ballot to everybody, whether they were active or inactive registrants. And we sued, and they backed off and said, okay, we'll only mail to people who are actually living here, which is essentially what an active voter is versus an inactive voter. The views that Mr. Fitton shared in the September 22nd, 2020 video were supported not just by Judicial Watch's own substantial experience advancing election integrity and successful litigation against the defendant, but also by nonpartisan and bipartisan studies and reports and numerous other sources. The comments were neither false nor misleading, nor was there any evidence that Mr. Fitton's comments, quote, may suppress voter participation or cause confusion and disruption of the orderly and secure administration of elections, unquote. So what I was doing, if I recall from that video, I don't think I've looked at it recently, is I was probably talking about the case where Los Angeles County was committing to clean up to 1.6 million rolls from their names from their voting rolls, which strongly suggested the voting rolls were dirty. General concerns about vote by mail in terms of the security of that and the potential for fraud that is almost impossible to detect because people aren't voting in person. You know, the typical discussions around election controversies and election integrity measures. But we were told on September 25th, 2020, that YouTube removed Judicial Watch's video, and the video hasn't been available since that date. So we subsequently learned through a California Public Records Act request that the Secretary of State's office had purposely assessed plaintiff's video to be misleading and caused the video to be removed from YouTube's sharing platform. Specifically, on or about September 22nd, the Secretary of State's office listed our video on its misinformation tracking sheet, or misinformation tracker. So under the column linked, entitled screenshot/text/linked, they attached a link to our video, and it looks like they're quoting our video. The states are taking reasonable steps to clean up the rolls. That led in part to a settlement with Los Angeles County, as I already told you. Then I talk about how in Michigan, the court changed the rules to allow them to count ballots 14 days after the election, and mandating ballot harvesting. And what is ballot harvesting? It basically means anybody can take anyone's ballot and bring it to the polling place. Again, more opportunity. And I guess that gets cut off. Under the column entitled Misinformation, this is what they called misinformation. Ballot collection harvesting voting rolls. Head of conservative group Judicial Watch hosts video alleging Democrats benefit from incorrect voter rolls and ballot collection. Had 2,398 views as of 4/07/9/22. So here we have a government official tracking what Judicial Watch is saying, tracking what I'm saying. Maybe I should have sued too. Am I a defendant here? I should be. They're figuring out how many people are watching the video, and they're concerned that I'm criticizing, it looks like, Democrats. And I don't know if I criticized Democrats in the video. I probably didn't. Under the column entitled Indicator, OEC wrote ballot collection. Under the column entitled Social Media Action Taken, OEC wrote video was removed from YouTube. So OEC is the Office, again, of Election Cybersecurity in the California Secretary of State's office. So there you have the confirmation that our video was removed as it relates to OEC's tracking for, it looks like, partisan purposes, this video. Again, under the column entitled Result, OEC wrote removed. Now then we got emails showing how it worked. So on September 24th, the Secretary of State's social media coordinator emailed an email address at Google and copied 4 YouTube employees with the subject line, "Report video, election integrity crisis." Again, the title of our video. In the email, they wrote, "Hi, YouTube reporting team. I'm reporting the following video because it misleads community members about elections or other civic processes and misrepresents the safety and security of mail-in ballots. Thank you for your time and attention on this matter. All the best, Aquila." That's the name of the government official who got us censored, in part. And then they responded, like almost immediately, it looks like, the next day. "Hi, Aquila. Thanks for reaching out. We will look into this and get back to you as soon as we can." Later that same day, we noticed the video was taken down. And then 2 days later, YouTube confirmed to the government that our video had been removed. "Hi, Aquila. Circling back on this. Thank you for raising this concern to our attention. This has been removed from the platform for violating our policies. Please do not hesitate to reach out if there are any other questions or concerns you have." On information and belief, that government agency did not make a finding that our video may suppress voter participation or cause confusion and disruption of the orderly and secure administration of elections, which is what the California law that allows this agency to operate, this specific sub-agency to operate, directs them to be concerned about. Nor would any such finding have been warranted or otherwise supported by evidence. So they really didn't make any finding, and And obviously we weren't doing anything wrong, so there was no negative finding to make. That's what that paragraph means. This is very interesting. Notably, the censored video is a portion of a longer video posted by Judicial Watch on our YouTube channel that addressed issues in addition to election integrity. The longer video, which this government Secretary of State's office in California did not bring to YouTube's attention, remains available on the channel. So draw your own conclusions from that. By assessing our video to be misleading and causing the video to be removed from YouTube, the government injured our public education mission. When plaintiff's video was removed, it had only 5,531 views. It had only 5,531 views. OEC's actions prevented us from reaching tens of thousands of viewers with our message. So we go on and talk about this, and we also highlighted in the lawsuit that we were concerned that they were monitoring our social media directly, and it looks like they were using a partisan public affairs and consulting firm called SKDK Knickerbocker. SKDK is kind of what it's known as. And during that time period, that firm regularly sent Dresser, Jones, and other officials, and Dresser and Jones are individuals in the California Secretary of State's office, misinformation daily briefings. Now, that firm specialized in working for Democratic Party politicians and employed notable figures like former Obama White House Communications Director Anita Dunn, who's now working in the Biden White House, and Hillary Rosen. In September 2020, the firm was advising the Biden campaign. So here you have California Secretary of State officials targeting and monitoring and spying on Judicial Watch, calling attention to YouTube to get our video taken down. And who are they working with to get all that done? Who are they relying on to do this social monitoring of not only Judicial Watch, but others? Other innocent Americans? The Biden campaign firm. So you've got a campaign colluding with a government official, it looks to me. And of course, YouTube is happily working with them to censor material in a way that it looks to me is designed to benefit the left. So we have alleged violations of the civil rights laws, 42 U.S.C. 1983, which is a core civil rights law, a violation of the First and 14th Amendment, and also a violation of the Free Speech Clause of the California Constitution. So this is a big lawsuit we filed, and I took the time to go through the specifics with you in a hopefully unconfusing way to highlight that we're not just making an outlandish allegation, oh, we got censored, the government must have been involved, let's sue someone. No, we got censored, and we tried to figure out what went on. We saw a news story, because there were news reports about this censorship campaign out of the California Secretary of State's office. So we asked questions about it. Lo and behold, we show up in these documents. Lo and behold, we find out our YouTube video was taken down just before the election. Remember, the election was in November 2020. Our video was taken down, what, 6 weeks beforehand, 7 weeks beforehand? You may recall there was a lot of debate about vote by mail and what it would happen. And we were participating in that debate as a leading group on elections. We're national election law experts. We know what we're talking about. We litigate the issue successfully and repeatedly. I testified to Congress in 2020, I think not once but twice. My colleagues another 4 or 5 times. And they're censoring us? So I don't know what's going to happen with the lawsuit. I hope we win, obviously. But now we get to pursue this issue, and the California Secretary of State's office in the lease is going to be held accountable. You can bet we're going to have questions for YouTube and Google. And obviously we're looking at what else is going on in this great suppression. I was just talking to a reporter today. Just the News had a big story about how the Department of Homeland Security was colluding with these private groups, again, to target specific Twitter and social media accounts who from these leftists thought were peddling, quote, misinformation. Now, misinformation is information they don't like, just to be clear. And I was number 5 on the list, on this hit list. There was another entity that was putting out more, another hit list just recently. I was number 3. So I'm actually getting better. The first one was I was number 5, now I'm number 3. Who knows, maybe I'll be number 1. I'm the number 1 target for the left on social media. The left is an enemy of the truth. They're an enemy of truth-telling. They are the enemy of critics of the state. They're an enemy of critics of efforts to undermine election integrity. The left is an enemy of the First Amendment, of free speech, your right to petition your government without retaliation. I mean, we sued this California Secretary of State's office and they suppressed our speech in talking about the suit. So this is a major issue. It's broader than even California. As I said earlier, the Biden administration's into this major censorship, this great suppression, and we are investigating that, trying to figure out what's going on there. But again, Judicial Watch just doesn't talk. We act. And in this case, the action is a major civil rights lawsuit against California's Secretary of State over its effort successfully to cause YouTube to remove a video of Judicial Watches featuring me, highlighting and educating Americans about election security issues. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.